Yeah, it's been pretty interesting. Obviously, you've got Jeff Driscoll starting another game. You had both Lions receivers, like we talked about, fairly fantasy relevant last week. But Dave, you mentioned Kenny Galladay basically came on the back of one big play.
Yeah.
So we'll see going into this week. Dallas is pretty middle of the pack across the board as far as defense goes. They're apparently susceptible to tight end, but when you've got the
Maybe a
inconsistent
sleeper
TJ,
for running back. Bo Scarborough got brought up from the practice squad for Detroit.
man, there's a guy who I've had my eyes on since his days at Alabama,
He
and
had a
it
good career at Bama.
he really did, but he also had a very injury marred career at Alabama, and that seems to have followed him into the NFL.
Well, they play in a dome at Detroit, and they play in Dallas at Dome. I mean, you can't really get any better conditions. And Paul Perkins got a ton of touches last week for Detroit, so Scarborough might get some.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see something there. I don't see that being enough to really make any sort of impact on the field.
Just as like a deep sleeper, maybe if you need one just to pick up.
Yeah, if not for Ty Johnson returning, this was going to be my J.D. McKissick game, but I think he's going to throw a wrench into that. But back to the score, Dallas favored by 7. I think that they cover that. They probably win by 10, in fact. So I'm going to take the Cowboys 21-10. A game that's usually reserved for, Thanksgiving Day now comes a week early for us. So that's pretty interesting.
Because there's nothing to be thankful for when Jeff Driscoll's playing.
Good point.
Yeah,
Very good point.
They flexed that one out without announcing.
It was supposed to be with Stafford playing, yeah.
Guys, I wanted to make Amari Cooper one of my locked and loaded starts for wide receiver, but he's been dealing with an injury the past couple of weeks. He's been limited in practice. I know he's played well, but with Darius Slay stated to start this one, I'm just not ready to guarantee a great game for Amari Cooper. Please do.
I went back and watched a little bit of the tape of last week. Slay looks like he's mentally checked out of Detroit because, 1, the GM had him on the trade block a couple weeks ago. 2, they traded Quandre Diggs, one of his best friends, away. I don't think Slay's going to put in 100% for the rest of the season, man.
That's fair. I was wondering that too.
Maybe he does this to let Quinn let him out of his contract or trade him away because he obviously doesn't want to be there. I mean, he literally was angry as crap about the Diggs trade. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Cooper have a big day because Slay looks like he's hurt on the pretending side to kind of get out of Detroit. I'm not kidding. He looks like it, man.
No, that's fair. All I've read since Diggs got traded away is that Slay's not happy about it, and he doesn't trust the. This is actually a big year as far as organizations and trust and players. I mean, you've had what went on with the Jets and their guard. You had the Redskins and Trent Williams. I mean, it's just been a nightmare. So
star medical team right there.
Yeah, we'll see going forward what happens with these players.
And the CBA's around the corner, so that's a biggie.
Yeah. Yep. Jay, what do you like for a score in this one? Cowboys, Lions, Driscoll versus Prescott.
Here's the problem. What everybody forgets is the Cowboys have a tendency to play down to their competition. They're forever barely beating teams they should stomp on, it feels like. And so I got the Cowboys 21-17, so they're not going to cover. So you can take the Lions and the points, but you can. So it's another one of those double bets. Take the Lions and the points, then go back in, make another bet, and take the Cowboys straight up.
There you go.
I thought you were going to pick the Lions for a second. I'm like, oh my God, is he going to do it?
No, I'm not picking the Lions.
Come on,
Jeff Driscoll. But they're gonna. If you take the Lions and the 7 points, the Cowboys ain't covering 21-17 in my score here. So they just play down, dude. They're terrible at doing that, and you know damn well they do. All right, next game.
Moving on, the New Orleans Saints, after a horrible week against the Atlanta Falcons, travel to Tampa Bay to take on their division rival Buccaneers. Jameis Winston is going to be ready for this one. Marshawn Lattimore will not. Lattimore is going to sit in this game, and if you saw last week, you know that the Saints are simply not the same defense. when they don't have Lattimore out there.
Big
I'm
downgrade to
expecting
Apple.
absolutely a big game, as stated on Twitter earlier today from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. This is a game where I could easily see the Saints slide into somewhat of a losing streak. I think that the Buccaneers are going to be ready for them, juiced up. Right now, the Saints are favored by 5.5, but very good at stopping the run are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Alvin
Getting
Kamara is
healthier,
going
too.
to, yes, Kamara is going to have to get it done through the air. Jared Cook has formed a pretty nice relationship with Drew Brees, and Michael Thomas has been staying hot. You no longer have Vernon Hargreaves on the defensive side of the ball for Buccaneers, so let's see if that's addition by subtraction. I like the Buccaneers for the upset in this one, guys. I'll take them.
I thought I was going to be the lone wolf. Damn it.
Sorry, man. I just love that.
Yeah.
I love Shaq Barrett. I love Jameis in this game. You know, he's going to throw 2 picks, but he's going to throw 5 touchdowns.
I expect Evans to have a big game, especially because you know you're getting Apple against Evans, and Evans is just a genetic freak that just goes up and wins a lot of battles. So, yeah, give me the Bucks. I'm going to go 30-24. What are you doing? Did you tell me to steal third?
He's giving you those signals.
I know.
Bang on the trash can. Wait, is it an off-speed pitch?
I know. I feel like I just got ordered to do a changeup.
But, yeah, also worth mentioning, Andrews Pete, star tackle for the Saints, is going to miss this game. So you got Shaq Barrett, who may still be the sack leader on the year. I'm not sure. But and JPP, yeah, almost forgot about him coming after it. Jay,
also, too,
what do you think?
Vita Vea is having a quietly good year, too, folks.
He really is, man. And for someone who is supposed to be just a nose tackle, stuff on the run, he actually gets pretty good pressure collapsing the pocket. So I really like what he brings up there. Him and Sue.
Yep.
Not bad.
Didn't mean to add on, my bad. Sorry, Jay.
Stepping on toes.
I know.
Well, anyway, I, too, have the Saints getting blown out 38-20. First game without Lattimore. They're away at Tampa Bay. Drew Brees can't throw the ball over 20 yards. This defense has been playing better than people really are giving it credit for. They coming off a bad loss. I think the Saints start to reel a little bit right now.
The outdoor factor in Tampa takes a biggie, too. When they go outside, their play drops.
And his thumb still ain't right, so.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
No,
I tried to keep it close. Jay's like 18 points spread.
Yeah, well, we know how he feels about Drew Brees. I'm not surprised. Moving on.
If it was Teddy Bridgewater, I'd pick them to win.
Moving on to another divisional matchup. You have those same Atlanta Falcons red hot after a win in New Orleans, going to Carolina, taking on the rival Panthers, Kyle Allen and the boys. Atlanta is coming into this one shorthanded. They are not going to have Devonta Freeman. They are not going to have Austin Hooper. Guys, it was nice while it lasted, but as they say, when it comes to trends, you got to look at more what has happened and not what the exception is. So I'm going to go with what has happened with the Falcons and say they have another bad game, another awful performance, even though I like Brian Hill as someone who could potentially spark this matchup. Panthers bottom of the league when it comes to defending the run. Yeah.
I got something right here. Dante
Panthers
Jackson
favored by 4.
Is a highly questionable on the injury report right now. He has an injured hip, and most corners and wide receivers have injured hips. You ain't going to see him playing. Their guard is doubtful. That's Daly, who went out against the Packers last week. Cockrell, who is Bradbury's backup, is out. Bradbury is out. So they're down to their 4th and 5th string corners, it looks like, in Carolina. Still versus Julio. Does that change anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it certainly should when you consider Julio's had some of his best games against the Panthers. I mean, 200-yard performances against the Panthers. So this is definitely a Julio game
tonight at the bar, and he won't be able to play tomorrow.
Such an awkward situation.
Speaking of cornerbacks, Desmond Trufant set to make.
And by
his,
the way,
start.
Dave stomped on you when you were trying to tell us the line on that.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I am stomped on. I am back. The Panthers favored by 4 in this matchup. In spite of all the injuries, in spite of the corners being out, I guess they like the home field advantage. They like the fact that the Falcons have only won 2 games so far. But, yeah, for the Falcons working in their favor, Desmond Trufant has not seen the field since week 5, and he'll be back to defend the likes of DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel out there. Well, one at a time, obviously.
I'm picking the Dirty Birds 2 in a row.
Hey.
Tell your cousin Joe to rep them hard this week.
There you go, Joe. Put on that jersey and wear it proud.
Has he been shamed the past couple of weeks?
It might have been inside out.
No, I think the Dirty Bird's pulling out here. With what I just looked up on all the secondary being banged up, still got Julio and Ridley. Those are 2 still dangerous, big play wide receivers that can take it to the house anytime. I understand Hooper's out, but Julio's Julio. And Ridley, he's been upgrading still, since last year. So I'm going with Atlanta.
You can't touch this.
I'm going 30-27 on this.
Jay doesn't like it.
That's fine. It's like my 4th foul horn from him.
That's fitting for Mr. MC Atlanta Hammer.
You mean broke hammer?
Yeah, well, still.
You'd be surprised. Dave, by the way,
he's broke.
I don't know
What
I'm reading anyway on CBS.com is Mr. Bradbury got in a full practice Friday and is set to play.
Oh, okay. Then that has not been added on Bleacher Report yet. I am sorry. Either way, still down Dante Jackson, Evan Bradbury. You're still having Ridley and Julio.
Fair.
They still have Run CMC trumped.
Wasn't enough last week.
That's the Packers, and they were outclassed. Come on already. Get on board with reality.
No, I just got to mention that for Greg.
Panthers 24-12. They kicked field goals in this one. Matt Ryan stubs his toe during the game.
So you think it's going to be a career day for Mr. Young Hui Koo, huh?
No, I think they're going to get their yards and everything. But you know what I've noticed? Julio Jones has had plenty of games where he goes for a ton of yards and does not score. This is the division game, common opponent on the road. You're flying high, feeling yourselves. You're not that good of a team. Defense played out of its mind, which is the anomaly, not the rule this season.
I'll take a 200-yard day for Julio with no touchdowns.
Doesn't mean he has
it's on my
touchdown,
fantasy
and it's
team.
still good for fantasy points. Yeah, so I'm just looking at it in football terms here of trends. Again, you guys, I've explained this 1,000 times. I look at football a little differently.
It's not last week.
And we
haven't done that in a while.
Atlanta won last week, right?
I hate you.
For loss.
In keeping with the theme.
You got it. All right, you know what? Before we get to the next game, we need to take a break, guys.
Oh, man. Let's do it.
All right, when we come back, what game are we going to look at when we come back, Dillo?
Another divisional clash. We got the Jaguars and Nick Foles for the first time since week 1 visiting the Indianapolis Colts. Don't miss it.
Underrated game.
Ooh, yeah, I like that game. All right, we'll be right back. And if you haven't had enough of our banter tonight, you want to visit NFL Addictions on Facebook.com for all of your NFL banter and chatter. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still got an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for their version of the raffle for all kinds of cool prizes, even a chance at winning some cash. You buy a $10 raffle ticket for a chance at winning $100. That's a chance at making 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for a chance at all kinds of cool